Sweet Christmas! It's the Defenders, it's Mozz, it's Chaz, and what is the sound of one fist defending in the kitchen of hell? We're all about to get defensive. Hey, welcome once again to the Don't Get Defensive podcast. Don't even remember what the name of our own show is called. Yeah, we gotta come up with just a uniform. After this, the next thing we do, it's gonna have a uniform name, a uniform intro, because we're just doing all the Netflix stuff,
Yeah.
But anyway, moving right along. I am your host, Charlie the Professor Esser, and with me, as always, is my skinny rich friend.
It's Mozz.
Hey, Mozz. So glad you could join us once again, as always, to discuss The Defenders, Season 1, Episode 4, Royal Dragon. Which is all about, hey, man, everybody in New York at one time or another stumbles into Chinese restaurant at closing time and says, man, we just so got to get some egg rolls. And that is the plot of tonight's episode. So Royal Dragon is the name of the Chinese restaurant. And now,
a little on the nose, but
yeah, well, it's based on a comic book, man. So I get the idea.
Fair enough.
Yeah, it was actually had it been called Number One Kitchen, that might have been on the nose too. Here's the thing: there's no way to make an ironic Chinese food restaurant name. Because no matter what you pick, it's gonna say, "Oh yeah, that sounds like a Chinese food restaurant name."
Well, no, further than that, but he's the Royal Iron Fist, and he fought a dragon, and that whole connection is what I meant.
Oh yeah. No.
He's the Royal Dragon, right?
Yes, I follow that. Tonight's episode was directed by Phil Abraham. Writers were Douglas Petrie, who gets our created by credit. Marco Ramirez gets his created by credit. And who else is doing some writing on this? We got Douglas Petrie again and Marco Ramirez. They created and wrote the whole dang thing. These two guys are just kicking butt and taking names. So after our battle with the hand, yes, the hand. They after defeating the hand,
and two of its fingers.
Yeah, and running away. They go hang out in a Chinese food restaurant. Now it's kind of weird to me because it didn't seem like it was this late at night when they left Midland Circle. Did it? I don't know. I mean, it's inside a building, so you don't really have a sense of time. But I know that when Daredevil and Jessica came in, it was clear the sun had not set.
Right.
But, this might be fall, so maybe the sun's setting early, it's not quite daylight savings time. We don't really know the time of year. It isn't an ambiguous time of year. It's a time of year, though, that we can say that Jessica would wear a scarf.
Good point.
So it probably is fall, so it probably is getting dark a little early. This might have been meant to take place in October. It's hard to tell. We don't see a lot of trees. We don't really know what we're dealing with. So anyway, but they go to the Chinese restaurant, which is about to close, and we get the one of the hardest working men in show business. Let me find his name here because I want to get his name right. The Chinese food restaurant owner. You've seen him in 1,000 things. Let's see. No, that doesn't. Actually, let me see here. Oh yeah, okay, Phil Nee, who actually I think I think that's Phil Nee. Was he? It says Mr. Zhang, so
it's got to be.
Because this is the thing. I think he was actually the restaurant owner in the Seinfeld episode where they're trapped in.
No, really?
I think so. I want to say that's the case, but I could be completely wrong and just imagining stuff.
Wishful thinking.
Yeah, assuming I'm looking at the right guy. It's like that's the whole thing. It's trying to remember everything. But anyway, yeah, this is the Chinese food episode of Seinfeld and the Defenders.
Right.
Where we're looking for Mr. Cartwright. So they are all in the restaurant. They're all
getting to know each other. It almost seems like the first day of class where everybody gets up, takes a turn. What's your name? What animal would you be? Yeah. That's definitely the kind of feeling it has to it.
Yes.
A bit more urgent.
Yes, a bit more urgent, certainly. And of course, we have this basic issue right off the bat, which is that Daredevil does not want to play with the others. He is not there for your. He does not want to go back to his life of superheroing. And no one really wants to be a superhero, except of course for Iron Fist.
Right.
That of course. Well, of course, but this is what I always say is the inherent difficulty of writing Iron Fist, which is that he is a very traditional superhero. Right. He is very much this guy who's just, oh no, we're just going to go be a superhero, right? We're going to go fight the Hand. There's an evil organization. We're gonna mess up their stuff,
Yeah. Very clear-minded in his purpose.
Yes. Which is exactly both his advantage and his disadvantage. Now, sorry, I'm eating dinner while we're doing this too.
Oh, no worries. I like this episode specifically because it's the first episode where Danny has some charm, where he's likable. And he's probably the most fun part of this episode. I think he really comes alive, and the way he takes charge, almost, assuming that, oh, okay, now we got a team and everybody's going to be on board. It almost takes lead just by his acceptance of the situation earlier than the others,
Well, yeah, and of course, this is the, this is what we, this is why he is the Kramer of the group. He is not really associated with reality. He does not really concern himself, and let me take it a little further. He does not really concern himself with the social niceties of the issue. He is looking at it and he says, "Okay, so we're all superheroes, right? We got Blind Ninja, we got Bulletproof, we got whatever you are, Jessica." Classy. Yes. And we are going to go face the Hand now. We have an army. We can go do this. And that is, and here's the thing about it, is he's right.
Right.
He is absolutely right about this. He's not wrong that this is what we all have to do, But of course, everyone else is thinking about, and this is kind of, again, where this Seinfeld, the Seinfeld association that, me and the Capes and Lunatics kind of came across early, comes really into play. Because when you think about the characters in Seinfeld, they're generally speaking always trying to understand what the social responsibility is as they try to do what they want to do. And that's because that, like, you always say Seinfeld's a show about nothing. Actually, what Seinfeld is about the basic Nietzschean compromise, if you will. Well, I mean, not really Nietzschean, because Nietzsche said, because Nietzsche said be Kramer. But everyone else, we're George and Elaine and Jerry. We can't just be Kramer. We can't just say, yeah, let's just do that.
Right. They're always searching for what's the least I need to do not to get fired philosophy of life.
Exactly. And the fact of the matter is that that while they're all debating what they need to do, because Kristen Ritter Jessica Jones just wants to solve her case. Luke Cage just wants to, figure out, who's messing up, who's coming into his neighborhood and causing problems for the kids, like so much Mr. T. Hey Ben, hey Tracy. Anyway, and Daredevil just wants to go home because he doesn't want to be Daredevil anymore. He has had his iconic scene where he puts the costume in the garbage can and slowly walks away. That's usually a Spider-Man scene, but it's. I'm doing a podcast right now, buddy. I love you. Okay, ask Mama. I don't care if you're mad at me, Ben. Go lay down. No. Yes. Ben is being punished right now, and he is very mad at me. Oh yes, well he did a bad thing.
What did he do?
I left my credit card on the Google Play account. I didn't take it off, and he went and ran up some charges. $8 of which we could not get reversed because technically it's not fraud. It's my son stealing money out of my wallet.
Wow.
And now he's mad because he's got a punishment, and I'm not adequately being rude to him at the moment. He wants to have his emotional display, and I'm not.
You're not giving him the key to the door.
No, exactly. But anyway, that's my life. For those of you interested in what's going on in the Esser household tonight, that's the story. So if you hear the whimpering, that's my son putting on his show for me.
Yeah. It's almost Shakespearean in its multi-leveled arena that you're playing in.
Exactly. So anyway, moving right back to the show. They are all held up here. Daredevil wants to go home. He just says, let's just call it a night. And of course, Iron Fist is making the point. Like, look, the hand isn't going to just let you walk away. They're not going to just let everything end. We are here. We were brought together by the cosmos, by the universe, that magical force that speaks to 20-year-old millennial white girls in yoga pants, because the universe is always trying to tell them something.
Yeah, but in a sense, also, how can you deny that it is, regardless of whether it's intentional or it has, a consciousness behind driving these people together, or if it's simply just a function of what the world is putting out, and the world needs us to collect, because that's, it's like we were brought together by circumstance, not necessarily by a consciousness. But either way, you know what the right thing to do is.
Well, exactly, and this is the thing, and this is the crux of the Defenders, which is everyone else coming to the realization that with great power comes great responsibility, and that being a superhero is more fun than not being a superhero.
Yeah.
I mean, because that's the truth of it. Because there is this underlying thematic of superheroism, which is that, yes, we have these powers and we need to do good. But at the same time, we would not want to not be without powers. As much as we say our powers are a curse every freaking day. How much we just wish we could have a normal life. No one wants a normal life, No. One of my best thoughts on superpowers comes from George Clooney. Where I remember George Clooney was being interviewed by Rosie O'Donnell when she had the daytime show. Big fan. She was very lovable on that show, because she was, she was playing on the lovable character, the lovable, fat lady for early morning TV audiences, and I loved it. And she's sitting there with George Clooney, and they're talking about like all this charitable work that George Clooney's doing, and he's like, well, yeah, if I didn't spend most of my time doing charitable work, I would have to be a huge, a-hole. Because, I mean, like, look at it. I have found myself in a life where I make way more money than I can spend. And I've got all this fame and power. And if I didn't use that for good, my goodness, what kind of a loser would I have to be to not use fame and money for good,
Right.
And that's
right.
And here's the thing, George Clooney, as much as he may not like paparazzi and all the hard things about being a celebrity, he's not changing his life. He's not gonna walk away tomorrow just to have a normal life in the country. Because being a superhero is a lot of fun. And you can do a lot more good if you are willing to be a superhero.
Right.
And
yeah, totally makes sense.
Yeah, and that is what our heroes in the Chinese restaurant are grappling with tonight. Because Iron Fist has embraced that he's a superhero. And
he's the only one that's being an adult about it for a change. Normally, he's the petulant child, which he turns into in 5 seconds, after Daredevil insults him. But for the moment.
To be fair, in saying he's being the adult by saying, let's be superheroes. He's correct, and that actually is the mature choice. It also happens to be a choice that, is informed very much by fantasy wish fulfillment.
Right.
It's like, why do you not want to be a superhero? Is basically what he's saying.
Right. That's fair.
But and of course everyone else is saying, "Oh, but it's hard on my life. It's hard on my family. It's hard on all the people I love." And he's like, "Okay, goodness, I gotta say this, Tristan. Every time, because Tristan, he does YouTube videos as Toxic Gamer, Toxin Gamer." And he's always recording stuff. And then anytime anyone says something when he's recording, he's like, "You ruined my show. You ruined my thing." Yes, you do. And then when Daddy's doing a podcast, and I'm doing a podcast, and then immediately it's like, "Daddy, can you do this? Daddy, can you do that?" I know it's okay. It's okay. I love you boys very much, but. Okay, you're mad at me because you have a punishment. That's not a reason to be mad at someone. They got to talk to Mom about that because I'm in the middle of a podcast. Yoish! Okay, moving right along. You see, this is what Iron Fist is talking about. Why do you want Charlie's life? Children interrupting your podcast when we could go punch the hand.
Wow.
Don't you want to punch an ancient evil organization in the face? And then of course Stick shows up.
Yeah. And he's the only other one that makes sense. And he's like, no matter how much you think you're staying away, it's eventually going to be all your fight. So I don't know what you're waiting for. Either you go out there and you die, or you maybe die trying to fight.
Yeah. Although, I'll be honest with you, I think he winds up undermining everyone at the same time. I think that, here's what I'm going to say. I think Danny might have convinced them all eventually because they would have said, "Hey, I don't know about this or that or the other, but you know what, he's kind of right about these things." And the second, like a guy who just cut off his own hand walks, "Yeah, I cut off my own hand so I could escape." Which is still like just, that is so wrong, Stick.
But he takes such pride in telling that story, though.
Yeah, except I don't know why.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it was really BA, but you know what? It also, first off, it was completely unnecessary because to get out of handcuffs, you only need to cut off your thumb at most.
Totally true.
Really, you just need to break your own thumb.
But also very true.
To slip out of a pair of handcuffs. Because they were just handcuffs. It's not like they were really fancy cuffs. They were just handcuffs.
Right. You'd think you would have some ninja skill to get out of those Houdini style without having to do,
Well, Houdini had like triple jointed everything. That was Houdini's thing. His he had his cartilage would have actually given him crippling arthritis in his later life had he not died so young.
Wow.
Oh yeah. But that was the thing. He was super. Yeah, you actually you don't know that, like a lot of contortionists. That's the problem they have as they age, because what lets them be a contortionist is that they don't have the normal strictures on their joints, but as a result, the joints kind of don't always line up properly, and that causes huge amounts of pain later in life. Which is a fact I just made up. But you all believed it, didn't you? You all,
I totally did. I was on board.
Exactly. Yeah, because it sounds like it's probably true, and I do think that's probably the case about people with like double jointed thumbs who then use them to get out of handcuffs all the time, like Houdini did. I would imagine that later in life he would have experienced a lot of pain. Also, just the fact that he was also doing all that while submerged underwater in ice cold rivers and whatnot.
But it's like with everything, you gotta risk to get something, and some people get a lot but go real quickly. But that's always the relationship life has, I think.
Mm-hmm. And also, don't punch someone in the gut when they're not ready, because that's just rude, I think. But anyway, so getting back to the story, Stick shows up. And of course, Jessica and Luke are like, really? All this stuff,
Yeah.
Which again is always that weird thing where it's like, didn't the sky open up a couple years ago and actual dragons fly out? Like actual literal dragons flew out of a hole in the sky and attacked New York City. It was in all the papers. Right. We know that because anytime we see Karen Page, we go back and we see, the invasion papers on the wall from the newspaper. So
and like it happened in your city, it's not like it happened somewhere else.
Exactly,
but hey,
yeah, there's even some footage of it in Harlem. So 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 Jessica decides to leave. And because basically, first off, Daredevil is like totally not being upfront with everybody. So like, why should we trust you? Yeah. And then Stick comes in, and he's like, well, don't trust him, but also trust me, but let's not do. Honestly, this is why Daredevil is the George. He is flip-flopping back and forth all the time on everything, and doesn't really have a sense of who he is, at least at this stage in the story. And
yeah.
When Jessica goes out, she finds out that because she goes to, and I love when she shows up at the architect's wife's door, and she's like, look, I'm gonna do everything. I know people. We're gonna get 24-hour surveillance on you. She's like, are you drunk? Says, no, maybe. Actually,
doesn't matter.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you, one of the things I love about Kristen Ritter's portrayal is there is a real honest look at alcoholism in a way that I don't think a lot of people think about, because the thing about alcoholism is it is this drug that is ubiquitous, that is somewhat socially acceptable until a point, and that you can even use openly if cops don't want to be dicks about it, jerks about it. Right. They don't want to be Richards about the whole thing. There's this.
Or if you don't want to be Richard about it.
Yeah. The thing is that there's this ubiquity of this drug that a lot of people, present company included, have a real difficult relationship with. And we actually even, and my favorite scene, it's like I think it's in the penultimate episode, where you really see what that Jessica has a problem. And I like it. I like the way they handle it, and that's one of the things I like about this. So so she is getting drunk, she is dealing with the stuff, but she's still being a superhero because when she realizes when the mom says, "Well, I thought you already sent someone because that guy's been parked out in front of our house all day," and she goes over and it's one of the handmen, and I like that, and of course she basically says, "Tell me when this starts to hurt," as she slowly pushes his head through the windshield. And she gets the information I guess she was looking for, because then she shows up. Well, not yet, but first, of course, Alexandra shows up and wants to make a point to all of our defenders that, hey, look, we don't have to be enemies. I will kill you all without a thought. Though again, I
don't have to.
Yeah, but I still am not intimidated by any. Here's what I'm gonna say: the most intimidating member of the Hand so far has been Madame Gao. Madame Gao is literally the only one we've seen do something impressive with her chi punch. Right. She's the only one we've seen actually be dangerous and to take on any of the superheroes as a real superhero would, as to be right. She is like I think that she is actually from Kunlun. I think that and I do wonder if there is some sort of as might be common in many monk cultures, might be some misogyny that made her feel she couldn't become the Iron Fist kind of thing, I think I still say Gao's backstory is the most interesting thing here. And of course, Scott Buck isn't going to explore that because Scott Buck is a misogynist. Oh, you should hear me talk about Scott Buck and the Inhumans, how he's ruining the Inhumans. And if anyone,
seems
yes,
and that seems ripe and waiting for some fan fiction that you could write.
Oh yeah. Oh well. The Gao backstory, man. Gao is an amazing character. I want the next Marvel Netflix show to be Gao. The Legend of Gao, and which we follow Gao as a woman raised in Kunlun. She meets the other five fingers of the Hand, and she decides to join with them because she knows she can never have what she truly wants in Kunlun or Kunlun. And breaks free, but like I say, I mean, the only reason why we should think Alexandra is a threat is because we know Gao is a threat. Like if Gao was threatening all these people, I would totally buy it. I would be like, oh yeah, no, Gao will totally mess you up, because she already messed up Daredevil once,
Right.
But of course, Alexandra is making her threats, and I don't want to hurt you. I want to, this is the first time I've been in Iron Fist where I didn't just want to kill you. They have made the point previously that there's something underneath Midland Circle that they want that they can't open, and she makes the point is it's not a barrier, it's a door, and a door has to have a key. Right. And, what do you think that key is? It's,
Obviously
it's the Iron Fist, so this is why she wants the Iron Fist, this is what she wants to do, and she's basically saying, look, we can all let bygones be bygones. Danny, come with me, and let's just sort this out, But, of course, she is the bad guy, and for what it's worth, Danny Rand is the sworn enemy of the Hand. I mean,
not much choice to it.
Yeah, it's not like he was ambiguous about that aspect of his life. It's like, no, I am the sworn enemy of the Hand. You are still the Hand. I don't care if you're the Hand 2.0. You're still the Hand, and I don't trust you. And more to the point, you
killed my parents.
You killed my parents, and you aren't even nice people, generally speaking. Bakuto ran a cult. And, you're clearly involved in some sort of criminal activity. I know Gao is a criminal, because she was running.
Yeah, you're right about the other fingers being completely ineffectual as bad guys. Like, the only thing that I've seen Murakami defeat was a bear. Other than that, I've never seen him in battle perform really exceptionally. Alexandra's never fought. Bakuto is, at best like a B-level fighter.
Yeah, well, I mean, he did fight the Iron Fist, so I mean, he's an okay karate guy.
Yeah,
I always think that this is very much kind of the issue of the Marvel universe here is that with the dawn of superhumans, so many characters, like so many ancient orders, are just falling apart. Hydra's falling apart, the Hand is falling apart because once you have a guy with bulletproof skin, yeah, you can die and get back up a couple hundred times, but a cat with 9 lives still only got 9. And one thing we see about the Hand is that there is a limitation on these powers they have, because that is the opening salvo here.
Yeah.
Is that it's not true immortality; it's just simply a close approximation thereof.
It's just indefinite.
I'm sorry, Mozz, you dropped out there.
No, I said it's simply an indefinite extension.
Well, exactly.
Pending approval every so or so.
Yeah, and especially since there's only so much of the substance, and whatever the substance is, we find out later. That they've already run through it all. They use the last of it on Elektra, which almost makes you wonder, like, man, how is it no one really wondered, do we really need to give this to, well, I guess they needed Rand. They needed Rand, and that's why they gave it to, what's his name? Blanking on his name.
Elektra?
No. The other guy, Ward's dad.
Oh, Harold.
Harold. That's why they gave it to Harold, because they needed to get that access, so they had to kill Mr. Rand, put Ward in charge, then have Ward be beholden to them by bringing him back from the dead ones.
As one does.
Yeah, so one figures that, and again, it's like this thing that that's Gao who was the one who pushed that, because I get the feeling they each get someone that they're allowed to use this on, that they can bring someone into that immortality, and who they're going to do is because you think about it, was it Nobu?
Bakuto had.
Akudo had Nobu, Akudo had Nobu. He was the guy who pulled Nobu's strings, and Gao has Ward because he's the guy that gives her all the access, and Alexandra has Elektra. Don't know who Bakudo has, but maybe Bakudo wanted it to be Colleen. Maybe that was going to be his gimme. His one extra. But. Yeah, so it is interesting how that works. Although we don't get much of that in the series.
No.
But we do see that basically after they turn it all down, we do get our little, we have Elektra show up, about to kick everyone's butt, and then who should come to the rescue?
Jessica Jones in an SUV, no less.
Yeah, because you hit a person with a truck, they fall down. They may not stay down, but they certainly fall down.
Yeah. I'm surprised though. I thought she would have thought more of her powers, but I guess she couldn't run fast enough to get there. And once you're already in the truck, might as well use the truck, I guess. Yeah.
Well, actually, that's the thing. I'm not quite sure what happened there. I don't know if she was driving the truck or if she just pushed the truck through the window.
Oh, I like that a lot better.
Because I realized, because you don't see her ever get out of the SUV. You see her kind of walking from the back.
That's
and I realized that when I was doing the rewatch, it's like, wait, did she just like throw the truck through the door?
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, and that's what I was thinking. Like, because I think that was the SUV, and I think she just, she put it in neutral and just like, boom, pushed it with all of her strength, and it flew through the plate glass window and knocked down Elektra. And that's the end of the show. And I think it was a pretty good episode. I mean, like I said, it was a great little bottle episode.
Right.
And that's what you need in these things. You need these things to keep the budget low because they are running out of money here. They're like, you kind of get the feeling they kind of committed to something and then kind of realized, oh man, we're like running out of money, and then we want to do the Punisher because everyone's saying they want to see the Punisher, and
I wonder if that's going to be like a tremendous budget. I hope so.
Well, one hopes it's going to be decent. I think you can do more with less in the Punisher. Because I think, I think the guns and the blanks are relatively easy to procure, use, and
orchestrate.
Yeah.
Then CGI, that costs a lot and is time consuming. Yeah, I see what you mean. No superpowers.
Exactly. And for what it's worth, I mean, it's sort of like when they started shooting all the Incredible Hulks on the Universal Studios backlot. Because at that time it was just easier, it was cheaper, it was a way to amortize it because they just had these locations. So let's just start making everything for these locations. And when it comes to Disney Studios, Marvel Studios, they've got an armory, at the studios full of guns and bullets that they just use for various things, and they just pull out the props back and again.
Yeah.
So it's not.
That should be fun.
Yeah, exactly. It'll be fun. It's gonna be. I'm sure it'll have a really good run. I'm looking forward to it. I don't know how the long-term situation between Marvel and Netflix is going to play out, but I hope it's positive. I do think that the Defenders has been a good series so far. It's a short series, much like the Inhumans, but whereas the Inhumans is just pretty much unwatchable, this is actually pretty nice. And and this was a good episode. Like I said, I like the Chinese food restaurant episode. It is a very New York kind of episode because you just think, like I say, about just four folks just hanging out in a Chinese restaurant trying to figure out what to do next. And late at night after they get out of the bar, or in this case, after they fight their way out of Midland Circle. Any final thoughts there, Mozz?
Yeah, it was a bit of a slowdown, but I guess you need to get a lot of things sorted out. You've got all these strong personalities, and they need to establish the pecking order, and that's what they needed to do here. But I liked it because it gave Danny a chance to shine as an enjoyable character, so that was kind of cool.
Yes, and it was really this. And I will be honest, I do think this is probably Danny's one of the few good episodes for Danny. I think
for sure.
Of course, the fact that you have this, I don't want to call it a manufactured antagonism that crops up between Danny and the rest of the Defenders. But it is definitely, it is definitely an issue.
Yeah.
Okay. So Mozz, if folks would like to talk to you about the Defenders, about anything else that they would find you. Mozz?
Hold on, I can't hear you.
Oh, okay, there we go. Okay, I hope we didn't. No, it says still recording.
Is this Vic?
I'm sorry, what?
Oh, damn it. What's going on?
Hey, Mozz, it's Charlie. You still there? You getting phone calls on me?
Charlie, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you just fine. Can you hear me?
Oh, there we go. Yeah.
There we go. Okay, so we're still here.
Sorry.
Yeah. So Mozz, if anyone would like to reach out to you and talk to you, it sounds like people are trying to reach out to you right now and talk to you.
Yeah, don't do that. Don't do that while I'm on the podcast. But you can email me at mozzmanzor@gmail.com or find me on Facebook under Mozz Manzor. That's MOZZMANZOOR.
And, of course, you can always write to me in that old-fashioned email way, the way our Mozz and Paz once did, at superconnectivityblog@gmail.com. That's superconnectivityblog, all one word, at gmail.com. And, of course, follow me on the Twitters as I live tweet the Inhumans and the Orville, which is good, at Charlie Esser. That's CHARLIEESSER. Look for the 2 E's in the middle for quality. That's right, Tristan. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, you have just spent another period of your life. No, just only under 40 minutes or so. Getting defensive with me and Mozz. And we really want
to be your friends.
Yes. As you go forward in life and walk down the winding path, we don't like mean people. Know always that the road to Kunlun will go to... Yes, I'll give you money for the book fair later. Fun children. As you go through life and walk the path towards Kunlun, know always, don't get defensive. Good night.